So do you want the president to fail? Do you? Yes or no?
All right, so more men in the workforce are losing their jobs and more women are working while dads stay at home with the children.
Do loans at the end of 2008, but just $8 million in its bad loan fund. Horizon Bank of Bellingham also charged off more than $19 million in bad loans last year.
Not prepared to adopt that basic strategy.
Well, there's a third choice.
There's another choice. Let me just say, there's another choice a lot of people suggest is the government itself comes in, buys these assets, sets the price of the asset, takes on all the risk in that strategy. Now that would leave the taxpayer taking on much more risk, much greater risk of loss over time.
Contrary to the rumors that you've heard, I was not born in a manger. I was actually born on Krypton and sent here to save the planet Earth.
A few members were even told that there would be martial law in America if we voted no.
The military-industrial complex has taken over the country along with the Wall Street gang.
Within 1 month of the passage of the first banker bailout bill, the press reported that over $5 trillion had just disappeared out of the U.S. Treasury. By December, the amount of money that had been stolen had reached $8.5 trillion. The leadership of both political parties circled the wagons and would not discuss where the money had gone.
Everyone is pointing to Barack right now, President Obama, as saying, you got to get the economy together.
Vote or die, galvanizing all the young energy, that demographic between the 18 and 35 demographic, get them out to vote, get them registered. Come to find out that all those names that when you register at the post office for the or register to vote, all of those names go into a database for the selective service draft.
Congress was given less than an hour to read the 1,070-page plus stimulus bill. Barack Obama, who had pledged on the campaign trail to wait 5 days before a bill could be voted on so that the Congress and the people could have a chance to read it, said that the stimulus was too important and it had to be passed before anybody could see it or read it. After its Friday passage, in gangster fashion, President Barack Obama took a 4-day vacation and said that there was no rush to sign it.
The notion of anthropogenic global warming is a fraud. In other words, the idea that the planet is getting warmer and that human activity is somehow responsible is a pseudo-scientific fraud. It's a big lie. It's a monstrosity. What you're going to do is destroy human society. You're going to cause genocide on a massive scale. The deaths will be measured in the hundreds of millions and indeed in the billions. Just the idea of global warming means that there'll be no development for Africa, no development for the poorer parts of Southeast Asia, and no world economic recovery of any kind ever in our entire lifetime. So it's important to expose and fight the pseudo-scientific fraud of global warming.
Anyone that's not prepared for what's going to happen, they deserve what they get, because there's enough information out there pointing to the problems.
Anybody somewhere between the ages of 18 and 25 will serve 3 months of basic training and understanding in a kind of civil defense.
Now, it doesn't always have to be service in uniform. One of the things that if you talk to our generals, they are desperate for is a civilian counterpart to our military forces.
So is this compulsory then?
Well, you have to, in a sense, it's a required of everybody, 18 to 25, 3 months. And at some point at that point, you do it. Obviously, I'm not going to say perfect legislation. We'll work that process through.
You could do it during a college summer, or you could do it after high school.
If you have a demagogue with a fanatical mass movement of personality cultists who is imposing the program of a group of extreme bankers and finance oligarchs, that's fascism.
Obama's transition site, change.gov, proclaimed that middle school and high school students will be forced to serve the federal government.
Now, a lot of times, we don't want to know the issue.
Right.
We don't want to know the issue. We feel, what do you call this thing where you get this false sense of gratification, but because a black man is in office, everything's going to be all right. no, everything's not going to be all right.
Yeah.
Until you look into the agenda on what the Democratic Party has been about, is about, and will be about, regardless if Barack Obama is the president or not. And that's real.
I'd like to know where you stand on the North American Union, which has been confirmed recently in the press. Ron Paul actually spoke about it, and Congress has actually spent some money on it. This North American Union involves a union much like the European Union, only with Canada, Mexico, and the United States, and the possible merging of the money system into a piece called the Amero, which would actually strip the United States of some of its sovereignty and perhaps our rights. Where do you stand on that?
In terms of this North America union, this has been something I know Ron Paul's talked about and people have been talking about. I have to say, with all due respect, that I see no evidence of this actually taking place. I think this has been something that has been ginned up in certain blogs on the internet.
Well, another announcement today by President-elect Obama giving new life to the North American Union, a plan by business and political elites to tear down the trade barriers among the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and to create a NAFTA superhighway, all of which to be done without the approval of Congress or the American people.
I have to say, with all due respect, that I see no evidence of this actually taking place.
All of which to be done without the approval of Congress or the American people.
Obama is already pushing to expand the Department of Defense budget and to station more U.S. troops overseas to encircle Russia, China, Iran, as well as setting up bases in Africa under the pretext of humanitarian aid, and dominate and occupy Africa through AFRICOM, and dominate and occupy Africa through AFRICOM. Dominate and occupy Africa through AFRICOM.
Peace and respect, much love. It's your worldwide Arcubalon correspondent, Comedic Valley in the building. And we doing our world tour, trying to see what's going on with our people. As you can see, I'm in the Sudan with our people, trying to find out what's going on. We've got rapes, we got wars, all kind of things are happening. I'm just here trying to see what's really going on, you know. So stay whoa!
And dominate and occupy Africa through AFRICOM.
Valley.